This week on the Steam Machine podcast.
Honey, I think we shrunk the podcast.
Cue the music! Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Steam Machine podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me this week are both of the Destructo Bros.
What's up, everybody? It's Nate again.
It's an old school reunion from the silver era of the podcast. Welcome us back. I'm Willie.
Silver era? You're saying what are you at now?
Mikolov, he's plastic.
Oh, okay.
He made of plastic, and I feel fantastic. We can comb his hair and undress him anywhere.
Yeah, that I'd like to see.
That goes along with the gift that he just posted.
Yeah.
Did he? Let me just poke my head over on there real quick.
But, how you boys doing? Nate, how you been, man? Nice hat.
Thanks, yeah. Not too bad, man. Just trying to remember, what was the last episode I was on?
Was it Turnip Boy?
No, we had because I did the Steamy Awards. Was that the last thing I did?
Oh, right. Yes, I think.
Yeah, I was just saying we called on you for something recently. I gotta look at a list of our own damn show because my members.
I know we called on you.
I feel like you've been on like twice recently, yeah.
I know you signed up for Yakuza. That is in the future.
Yeah. I think that might. Yeah, I don't think I've been on the show this year. That's crazy.
Were you on Doom Eternal? No.
I was going to be, but then I didn't play enough of it. So, yeah. Alrighty. I have not been on the show this year.
No, Nate, you were on Outer Wilds.
Oh, was that this year? Yeah.
Oh.
That was after Stevie's. That was when Mikolov was at the show in Las Vegas.
Yeah, the Cum Eater Symposium.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Where he and freaking Keeley got off to some really cool adventures. Yeah. Him, Keeley, and Snoop Dogg.
And that was definitely the real Snoop Dogg.
I mean, it was the real Keeley. What? I want to believe.
But anyway, yeah, so not too much. I finally got my new office set up, as you guys saw earlier. I like my new setup that I've got going on here. It feels a lot more me and professional enough for Bitwork meetings that...
It's very organized. It has a lot of fun memorabilia and personality, but it's organized. You have, like, shelves and stuff. It's not just, like, shit.
Yeah, like it was before.
Like mine.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of stuff. It's all cool stuff, but it's just a bunch of it.
Yeah. Like, one thing I learned about myself when going through all this stuff and putting everything up here is, like, apparently I like gremlins way more than I thought I did, because, like, there's Gizmo there, there's Stripe there, and there's a thermos there with Gizmo and Stripe on it. Like, I have 3 Gremlins things up there.
I mean, the last thing you were excited for in Multiverses was Stripe and Gizmo, so...
Okay, I have a...
Speaking of RIP Multiverses, they already canceled.
I have a thought about Multiverses, but I'm going to hold that for just a second. I have to give a shout out, as always, every time I see it, because I hate you that you have one and I wasn't able to get one. That fucking Macho Man Slim Jim thing is so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I super love having that. And then, because I have Macho Man over here, and then I have a Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator bust up here, which was actually Secret Santa gift that I got from Tadpog a few years ago. It's like a 3D printed Terminator head. It's almost like, it's not quite, unless Arnold has a small head and I didn't realize it, not quite life-sized, but close.
It'd be really funny if he was super jacked and just had this little head.
Yeah.
I also want to give a shout out to the Slime, keeping Macho company.
Oh, yep.
And the Clyde next to him as well. I was really enjoying Clyde over there. Is that your shout out to Billy Mitchell, your favorite gamer?
Oh, yeah, sure, man.
American hero. Actually, come to think of it, in the current status of America.
Hey, there's Donkey Kong right there.
There is Donkey Kong above him, yeah.
So,
and Big Bowsy, and what's the Statue of Liberty?
Pikachu.
Is that just... Oh, that's Pikachu, that's right. I was going to say, I remember you having a cool Statue of Liberty, but my resolution isn't good enough to make it out. I see Pikachu's ear now, yeah.
So, Office is cool.
Quickly,
it looks good shit.
Since it was brought up, you boys were players of it. Did you guys sink any money into Multiverses that is now just going to evaporate?
So I put a little bit of money into it before it went away the first time. I played it one time after it came back, I think, and then never went back to it. And I'm very glad I didn't, even though I was tempted a couple times, because like they added some cool characters, like Jason Voorhees is playable in it now, and there's like
I love the model they came up with Jason Voorhees too. They had a really cool character design for him. Like, I am sad that I missed it.
But I'm not sad. I'm very glad that I didn't get back, because I would have gotten back into it and I would have started having fun again, and then it would have gotten taken away. And I was like, I'm glad I didn't fall for the trap. Can you guys believe that, like, it was like 2 years ago that game won Best Fighting Game at the Game Awards?
Game Awards, yeah.
What happened? I don't understand. Did everybody just fall off of it, or
they fell off of it? They did it to themselves, in my opinion.
Yeah, what I think is WB Brass probably wanted them to put a lot more microtransaction shit in. Everything got really grindy, so you had to play the game a ton to make any of the... Like, if you bought a character with in-game money or any other way, you still had to play that character for like 20 hours before they had all their abilities. So everything just felt needlessly grindy. You didn't feel excited to take on something new. Like, you wouldn't... Like, if someone bought Morty when Morty came out, they were like, I gotta be a Morty main now, because otherwise I'm not getting my money's worth, you know?
Yeah, like, everything was so expensive in that game. It's like... And, like, necessary to even play it. Because, like, if you wanted a character, either you bought it with money or you had to grind for fucking forever to get anywhere near unlocking anything. And then, even if you did pay for something like a battle pass in that game, like, to unlock each tier of the battle pass, you had to play, like, a ridiculous amount of that game. Like, because Willie me do the battle passes in Brawlhalla, right? And those are always fairly reasonable. To get anything out of the battle passes in Multiverses, that had to be, like, the only video game you ever played.
Because it wasn't just quantity of hours, too. It was also frequency of log on, because so many of them were daily missions.
Yeah.
Like, everything about it was just horribly designed. Like, in Brawlhalla, it's mostly weekly missions, but it's not even weekly in the sense of, like, you have to do that this week. It's like, week 1's missions come out. Then week 2's missions come out next Wednesday, and you can do week 1 and week 2, and so forth for 12 weeks. But none of those missions go away. You could just also log on for the dailies that you get and get, like, a quarter of a level for each daily.
That whole model bothers me, where they're like, you can either grind forever or pay to get this character.
I'm gonna send a shout out to Deep Rock Galactic then for finding the perfect way to not use FOMO to make people buy games. You can go back and play old season passes, and season passes are free. You don't have to pay anything. The only things you pay for are all the time available cosmetics.
Yeah.
I don't mind when people charge for cosmetics. And the way, like, games like Genshin and that, I don't necessarily mind those, because they give you things to do to earn currency to get characters. And it's not stupid grindy. To me, it's just like you're playing an RPG, and every now and then you get rewarded with things that you can go and try to get a new character with. It's like, okay, that's cool. That's how I play it, at least. But I'm going to use fighting games as an example. Tekken. Okay, there's a new character DLC pack coming out, and it's going to include Nina's sister Anna. And I'm like, okay, so let's just say that DLC is $9.99. When we were younger, and I was playing one of my favorite games ever, I think it was Tekken. Yeah, Tekken 2. Do you know what we had to do to unlock Anna? You had to beat the fucking game as Nina.
Mm-hmm.
How fucking hard is that? Like, just put characters in your game.
Tekken 2 had a pretty interesting unlock system, though, because, like, I didn't even own Tekken 2, and I remember just reading in magazines, like, okay, if you win with this character and this character and this character, you unlock the prerequisite character so you can unlock Devil, and then if you win with Devil, you can be Angel, and it's like, man, this is, like, still burned into my brain. It's like the way you unlock those characters.
But seriously, it's like, we've lost so much of that, like, magic because of the way that everything is a microtransaction now. Like, I'm okay with the occasional, like, paying for an added character. Like, I get it. Like, Street Fighter 6, I think they do, like, 4 characters a year, and you can pay, like, a yearly pass to get all 4 characters. That's okay. But, like, I miss, like, when you had to put the effort into unlock a character. Even, like, the only game I can think of that kind of does that still is, like, Smash Brothers. Because Smash Ultimate, you get that game, you still have to unlock the characters through playing the game, which I think is really fun. But they still had DLC on top of that. So, like, I actually think that's actually a pretty good model, all things considered.
No, and I agree with that, because the DLC characters, though, if I remember right, weren't unlocked immediately. They were put into the pool of characters for you to unlock, right?
No, I'm pretty sure they were unlocked immediately.
Yeah, okay, maybe there were just so many goddamn characters to unlock in that game.
There are.
We owned all the characters before DLC came out, so we can't actually speak to that.
True.
But freaking, like, Shoutout is a great example too, because there's also multiple ways to unlock the characters. You don't just get like, you can get them through the story mode, World of Light, but you can also get them like different ways just by beating the game. I think classic mode has different characters, I want to say, and like I thought that meant that you didn't have to play the game the exact way the developer, because it also does kind of piss me off when I buy a whole game and the devs are like, yeah, you got to pay your dues before you can actually use the game you just bought.
Now,
like I paid my dues back in the day.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I do buy character DLCs because like the edition of WWE 2K25 that I just got is the big edition that comes with all the shit, because I want all the DLCs. I want Penta when he comes out in the DLC. You know, I want the newer people, and I don't really mind that. But when there are these fighting games that are on their 4th season pass, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, if back in my day when they first introduced season passes, for one, I was like, this is stupid. But you bought one season pass and you got everything. And then I think maybe it was Borderlands 3 was one of the first ones that did a second season pass, and everyone was like, what the fuck? But people bought it, so now it's the norm. And that's the way it goes, you know what I'm saying? Like, and don't get me wrong, I've been a part of that problem a long time ago with buying DLCs and shit. One of my favorite games of all time is the culprit of all of this, which is Oblivion. Okay? Like,
yeah, that's horse armor, baby. Let's go.
I mean, I will admit that, but Bethesda started a very, very slippery slope with that.
And I'll admit that I've paid for cosmetics in video games that only I can see, even though they're multiplayer, because I bought a costume for the handler in Monster Hunter World that made her look like Chun-Li.
But it also made you happy that she looked like Chun-Li, and you could send us screenshots of her in the cutscenes, and it's like, hey, here's me and Chun-Li hanging out with, the hot guy that's the son of the chief or whatever. I already forgot what that character was because I haven't played in a minute. But you remember the son of the chief? He was like the hot guy, and I
mean, people.
Everyone's kind of hot in that game. Sorry,
people pay for Overwatch skins, and that's a first-person game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They just want to look cool to other people.
Oh, yeah, you don't even see your own shit.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And, like, I pay for skins in Brawlhalla sometimes and all that. And so it's like, I don't mind that, like, because those are optional things. But, like, when you come down to, like, things that alter game mechanics, or just things that are almost impossible to do without being able to do, like we were talking about with multiverses, so there's some things that are okay to pay for, but other times that they just try to milk you for all you're worth, and you just gotta know when to cut out because they're just trying to scam you at that point, which Multiverses was doing.
And to compare Brawlhalla to Multiverses again, I know this is silly because we keep bringing it up. Every Multiverses character is a new, Warner Brothers IP, or they're LeBron James, which I guess technically they own him because of Space Jam 2. Whatever. Anyway, the point is, even after you bought the character with in-game currency, which you could, one, it took a lot of grinding to get enough currency, but the character was fucking useless until you leveled them up to like level 12, so you had all your perk slots and shit. Otherwise, you were going to be a detriment. Like, maybe me and Nate could play with each other as level 1 characters, and we would be cool with it because we didn't care. We'd be like, okay, we're grinding, we're not trying to win every game. But imagine if you were random queuing with a random dude as, someone that's like tryharding, and you just jump in with a level 2 LeBron James that only has like half of his moveset, essentially. You would feel like your teammates immediately letting you down. And it's like, that's such a bad way to start each game. Yeah. Whereas like in Brawlhalla, on the other hand, say you wanted to play as Roman Reigns, but you don't have the $14 roughly it takes to buy a premium crossover skin. You can play as Taros the Minotaur, who you can buy with in-game currency, is relatively cheap, has the exact same moves, he just doesn't look like Roman Reigns. And then if you find out you love Taros the Minotaur and want to throw money to look like Roman Reigns,
you're already good with the character.
You can later.
Yep. And you and your opponent can see Roman Reigns.
And that makes a lot of sense to me. Whereas, I feel like if Multiverses was going to do something like that they would gate skills almost. You know how like shooters will do that, where they'll like, if you're really high skilled, they'll only throw you in with other high skilled players. They don't throw you in with a bunch of noobs because you're just going to slaughter them. I feel like Multiverses probably should have done that too, where it's like, if you're leveling newbie characters, just throw you in with other people who have newbie characters and keep it on.
Yeah, that's the problem, is none of those games use character-based matchmaking, at least none of the fighting games. So, like, if you are, like, a pro-level player, you're jumping into the pro MMR with your level 1 character, and you're just going to get slaughtered.
Yeah, so, like how World of Warcraft did it in PvP, it changed, because it used to be 10 level gaps in PvP, so level 10 up to level 19. But now that's 5 level gaps. So, you can only do levels, like, 15 to 19. 10 to 14 and things like that, and it keeps everyone's skill relatively the same because your character's only going to be so good, and then you can just level out of that, and then you're no longer the best in your now you're the newbie piece of shit again, and you got to level up a few times before you can start owning people again. And it really helps. I feel like it helps humble people. Not everyone. Lord have mercy, not everyone, but like in me, it helped humble me on my way up leveling my character through a PvP and stuff. So there are things that I think that they could have done better, and obviously they didn't do them, and it failed, and they're canceling it, and that sucks because I know there were people that enjoyed it, but
there are people that enjoyed it, and there were people that put like $100 into the Founders Pack when that game first came out. I'm just like, I'd be really irritated. I think I put like $20 into it because like it was a game I was enjoying, and I don't mind paying for a game I enjoy, right?
Yeah, I want to say we both bought like the beta battle pass and like maybe like a skin or something small like that.
But then like they took it away the first time, and then from what I've seen like on the Multiverses Reddit and stuff too, like they made the game worse while it was offline. And the grinding got worse too, but like the mechanics in the game and everything didn't feel as good as they did in beta when they brought the game back. And it was just like misstep after misstep after misstep for that game. And I'm like, this was the fighting game of the year 2 years ago.
Also, I feel like the matchmaking was busted in that game too, because I feel like every time we played twos, we went like 8-2 pretty much every 10 games, you know? Like, we were always killing people. We rarely lost. Like, 8-2 is probably overstating it. I think we actually did better than that. And like, when we did lose, it's because we didn't solve someone's gimmick until fast enough.
Somebody playing the Iron Giant, we just didn't know what to do about it.
Well, the problem is I always disrespected Iron Giants. I literally didn't believe an Iron Giant would do anything until they showed me that they could do something.
Well, see, what you got to do if you're fighting the Iron Giant, you got to get Captain America. He goes in there, he hits the Iron Giant with a body slam, and then he gives him a leg drop. It's pin 1, 2, 3, and it's the biggest moment in multiverse history. There were 10 million people there if you ask Captain America.
I get the joke.
You know,
we're not quiet because we don't get it. We're just smiling.
Oh,
and
no,
nodding.
it was a dumb joke. I'm glad you guys didn't laugh. But so
I just wanted to tell the listeners we weren't just like, Dalton, you dumb piece of shit. We were just like, hey, it's mildly amusing, whatever.
No, I was sitting there thinking, Dalton, you dumb piece of shit.
Well, okay, I didn't want to speak for you, but
video games and really like not to make it political, I'm not going to, but like America as a whole at the moment seems to have a real big problem with greed. And I really think that it needs to be addressed before we witness the fall of a civilization.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, Willie, how you been, man? What you been up to?
Man. So, because we played this game and maybe you want to play some of Micro Machines, the NES game that clearly, like, there's several versions of it. It was a Sega Genesis game too, but Codemasters Micro Machines is clearly the game that inspired the game of the week. So we played some of that. I think maybe we should talk about that during the show. It's just I've done not enough interesting stuff that I have much to talk about. I've been getting back on, trying to apply for jobs again, which is one of the most frustrating things in the world, and I can't talk about it in a way that's fun at all.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, buddy. That shit sucks.
Like, if I had good news to share, I would.
Well, does that just leave me? All right. So, hasn't been the best of times around here recently. Me and my lady friend decided to just be friends. My mom's been sick, and my dad possibly needs back surgery. So there's been a lot going on around here, right? But I have been, for some reason, in the mood to dive into some visual novels. So I bought The House in Fata Morgana, which is less anime-ish style and more of like a gothic art style thing. But it's a long story. So I started that. I got 2 games that I think maybe we'll do at some point for the show. They're very short. It's called Milk Inside of a Bag of Milk Inside of a Bag of Milk.
I actually that one was really highly recommended to me by somebody, and I wanted to play it, and I never got around to it.
So I bought that and its sequel, which is Milk Outside of a Bag of Milk Outside of a Bag of Milk or something like that. The first one I think is like 45 minutes long. The second one's like an hour, I think, or 2 hours. Like they're very short experiences, but apparently they're pretty impactful. So I do want to check those out. And there are there's a lot of other visual novels I have my eye on. I went and looked at a list of some and acquired them. But you know me, like I do like to buy the things if I do enjoy them. So I do have a Wonderful Everyday Down the Rabbit Hole is in my Steam cart at the moment, because there is a visual novel sale going on, but also because I loaded up the visual novel that I acquired and there's no sound. And like one of the best things about that online people say is the soundtrack. So if I can't sort that, I'm just gonna do the right thing and just buy it and then go find the patch it and play it. Because here's the thing. When we were talking about this a little bit before we went live, with the R18 patches and things like that for visual novels, it's not always like hentai scenes that they're cutting out. So you can play through Wonderful Everyday down the rabbit hole, and then the game ends and it's just over, and you're like, oh, well, I guess that was a sweet little story. Aha, no. If you install the patch, it puts in the whole rest of the game, which is very, very much a different experience, I'll say, in a darker tone that they cut because of whatever when it got translated and brought over. So just wild to me that I had to do that. But yeah, so I might end up doing that. And then there was another one, Yumi and Her, A Love Story, which I think Kana just bought recently. That's another one that I really wanted to check out. I've seen it mentioned in talks with other games, kind of like Doki Doki and things like that. So it seems like it would be up my alley. I have a tote of some stuff that I got a while back from listener Brian. Shout out to Brian.
Shout out Brian.
And it's all kinds of stuff in here. I'm not going to name everything because that would take us a long time. But there are some cool things that I wanted to pull out in here that I was just like, what? So first and foremost, actually, I'll wait till Willie comes back to show that one. This, we got an Xbox 360.
Nice.
Right? I think I need some cords for it, but like this is apparently a working system. I don't remember if he told me it's modded or not, but if so, that's cool. An NES.
Hell yeah.
All right. No game in there, but I got plenty of games for it. Something I've never owned.
64.
A Nintendo 64.
Hell yeah.
No controllers, no cords that I know of, but he said that the console does work, at least last time he used it. And we got
Banjo.
The Banjo.
The Banjo games.
Okay, we just basically did Goofy. That was a Goofy.
Yeah, he pretty much is Goofy.
PC stuff, we got Warcraft Battle Chest and Fable, The Lost Chapters.
Man, I thought those were lost.
You stupid son of a gun.
It's down in the bottom, and I'm not going to sit here and dig for it, but there was also a Sega Genesis in here.
Sick.
Nice.
There was one really... Oh,
yeah, what was the one I missed?
Course.
It sounded like there was something really cool for me.
The best Sonic game ever, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sonic the Hedgehog 2004, right?
6.
6.
2006.
It's the 50th anniversary, and the first one came out in 1991. Meth.
And he gave me some PSP games, right? So like there's like Popo LaCroix, got Dissidia.
Popo LaCroix tastes a little bit like Popo, but not very much.
It's like...
You motherfucker.
I like that one took both y'all a second, and the moment you do, you're like, that was mildly amusing. Screw you.
So Dissidia, Final Fantasy, the fighting game.
Oh, I've wanted to try that before. It sounded cool.
This
nice.
is the first Legend of Heroes game. The Legend of Heroes: A Tear of Vermilion. This is cool.
That's really cool.
And I was like, bro, seriously? I was like, man, I've only ever emulated this game. I've never really gotten far in it because that's a problem I have with emulation. But I was like, damn, that's really cool to have. So I'm like super stoked to have that. And I mean,
I don't know anything about the Legend of Heroes games before Trails. I mean, it's interesting. There's like 5 Legend of Heroes before Trails came out.
Yeah, there were 3 on PSP that I know of. And that's the first of the 3. The other thing that I haven't shown, because I was waiting for you to get back, is...
I heard you mention it. Thank you, wireless headphones.
Well, for one, I'll show this.
That's a dongle.
So
This is a dongle.
yeah, it's a dongle of some sort. Is that PlayStation to USB?
It's a dongle for this.
Yo!
So this is a Rock Band Stratocaster from Rock Band 2, right?
The Rock Band 2 Strat. All right.
So I have been playing with that original Guitar Hero Stratocaster, and it's got some issues because it's so old. This is also old, but this does not have as many issues. And this, the tilt works. It's like when I'm playing, I do like that, and it powers up the thing. All right. So
Nice.
when I'm playing Clone Hero, I was looking on Amazon at I think it's called a Riffmaster.
Yeah, it's one of the. They came out with it fairly recently.
Yeah, I think it's they came out with it. It's supposed to be for like a new Guitar Hero and
You can use it in Fortnite.
yeah, the
Festival,
Fortnite
I
Festival.
think.
Yeah, that. But it said it worked for Clone Hero, so I was going to order one of those. But it's about $100.
Yeah.
But this has been sitting in my room, and I was like, I wonder if in that tote of stuff is the connector for this. Ta-da!
That's what the dongle
It was in
is.
there.
Okay.
And connected to this, which is in the tote still, is the part that is the connector for the drums as well, which you connect to this, and it hangs off of this part. And I have the drums in the other room. I just don't know if they do drums on Clone Hero,
Nice.
but
I think you can do drums on Clone. If not on Clone Hero, I think Yarg, which is another open source Clone Hero Rock Band type game, does have it. Yarg, YARG, yet another rhythm game. I think it's also compatible with Clone Hero charts, because I know a lot of the Clone Hero streamers I know switched over to Yarg.
I might have to check Yarg out. I've never heard of that. But yeah, dude, so that guitar, it's a little different because, there's differences between Rock Band guitars and Clone Hero guitars.
Yeah, the main difference, I think, is that the frets are, like, instead of being buttons, they're, like, little up-indented areas of the fretboard itself. And I actually think that the Rock Band controller feels better in general. I just don't like the strum as much, but I do feel like your Rock Band controller is going to do better for you.
I was playing some stuff, and it took me a little getting used to going from the Guitar Hero controller back to that. But, dude, once I got used to it, doing... I'm not great at doing chords in Rock Band and Clone Hero and stuff like that, but doing leads, I'm pretty good at walking the fretboard. And it's been a lot easier for me to keep my score going with the Rock Band guitar, so I've been real happy with it. Now, if that starts to give me problems, I'm ordering a fucking Riffmaster. I'm just saying, fuck it. But I was just reading some comments about the Riffmaster, and there was some where it was like, well, if you get the PlayStation version, it's plug and play, but your whammy bar and your tilt's not going to work. If you get the Xbox version, there's 2 programs that you need, but if you set those up, then everything works right. And I'm like, goddamn, this just sounds like a lot of work.
Let's work one time.
Yeah, but then I was like, somebody was like...
I mean, so was setting up RetroArch, honestly.
The person's like, yeah, I Googled, so I looked up the programs to see what they were, because I was like, I was in my cart ready to go. And so one dude's review was like, or not review, but it was on Reddit, and he's like, so I used this mapper that they said to map this guitar, and now I'm not getting any sound of my computer at all.
Who?
And I'm like, what? So he's like, oh yeah, so I fixed that, but now I can't get the guitar to work. I'm like... It made me wonder if that was an issue, because there was multiple people that's like, oh yeah, I've had this issue, blah, blah, blah. Here's how to fix blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, is this an issue with the guitar, or is this a skill issue? And all these people just happen to find each other. Like, I don't... I don't know.
That's the joy of Reddit, is you never know. And if something gets upvoted a lot, it doesn't mean it's right. It just means a lot of Redditors agree with it. That doesn't necessarily mean it's right.
Dude, there have been times I've been like reading a Reddit thread talking about how great a game is, and there will be a comment that has like 500 negatives, and I'll go and read the comment, and it's like, I love this game. And you're like, why did it get so many negative comments? What the fuck? Did they edit it afterwards? Like, I don't understand.
I mean, the thing about Reddit is, if you want to get like positive reviews on Reddit, just say really obvious shit that everyone recognizes. Like, don't be funny, don't be original. Just make references that people will pick up on. That's the problem with upvote, downvote systems. People will click up all your stupid, whatever the 2025 equivalent of Monty Python and the Holy Grail quotes are.
Oh, I totally get that. The most upvoted thing I think I've ever put on Reddit was something along the lines of, goddamn, Meltzer sucks.
Yeah, and because it's an obvious observation that like half of wrestling fans agree with and half of them disagree with. So it's like, you say that in a WWE friendly space where people are like, well, yeah, he sucks, he works for their company, he's biased or whatever. But like, fucking, you said the exact same shit like 10 years ago, and everyone's like, oh, you're a TNA idiot.
Yeah.
Like, it's all about take the temperature of the room, you know?
Absolutely, my good sir. Absolutely. Other than that,
I'm sorry. Reddit can be helpful, and it's cool with certain really specific sub-hobbies. I just don't have a lot of respect for it as a way to sort content.
No. I like Reddit far more than like other, like 4chan and things like that. But I still take Reddit, at an arm's length. Well, I stick to my subreddits I like.
At least when you go to Reddit, you can get answers from real people instead of like on Google, where now you have to go to page 2 because page 1 is just all AI search results.
Yeah, or advertised sponsored links and shit.
I'm not saying that says a lot for Reddit, but it definitely doesn't say a lot for Google.
Like, dead internet theory.
Dude, fucking...
more and more.
It's getting to the point on Facebook now where I'm blocking profiles that I'm not even friends with. They're just literal AI just sharing news stuff. And I'm like...
Dude, the AI on Facebook is ridiculous. Now, like, every other post is done by somebody... an AI bot, and then you go and look at the comments, and
they're all.
I literally don't know if they are AI or if they're just really stupid people, or I think it's a combination of both.
It is,
and I'm just like, y'all, this person is not 150-year-old, and they did not bake their own cake with cream cheese filling. This is not a real thing, people.
Yeah, dude.
This isn't a leaked photo of heaven, and if it were, they would have spelled heaven with regular letters instead of an E that's a 1 and a 3.
Yeah, the people. Yeah, it's getting bad. It's getting to the point where it's like, I love my friends, but like I don't love them enough to get on Facebook and give a shit about it.
No,
you know what I'm saying, like
I try to be on Blue Sky and try to do stuff there, but like I don't get a whole lot of engagement because there's not a whole lot of people there, and I'm just like, but at least I'm not helping one of the 2 billionaires with social media platforms if I use this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's useless. It's so fucking useless because like it's just bot shit. It's just bot shit. And like I feel like I don't even know what you can do about it either because it's like advertisers moved off of Twitter in droves because they knew it was all AI, but it doesn't need advertisers because it's being propped up by one egomaniac idiot.
And that same guy posts ridiculous shit on there and then gets actually by his own fucking website like all the time. Like he'll post something and then it'll be like, well, actually, in the
community notes, which is the best thing that was added since then. Yeah.
It's like actually this is a bunch of bullshit. And it's just but yeah, it's just becoming a toxic cesspool. That's why I like our Discord. It's super chill.
Yeah.
And this is where I spend most of my social time is in the Discord. So if you want to chat with me and become my friend, come join the Discord. bit.ly/TSMP Discord, all capital letters.
The cool thing about our Discord is, I'm not saying there's no AI content in there, but we try to segregate it to an AI wasteland channel. Although occasionally people post like AI art outside of there, which I haven't cracked down on yet, but sometimes I think about it.
The AI channel though is mostly there for Goose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's there, but yeah, it's not legitimately people championing AI. It's like, look at this stupid shit we got a robot to do. It's hilarious.
Look at this weird looking wrestler I made a robot make.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any. No Man's Sky. I did the expedition. That
is there still time for that?
I think you are progressively running out of time, but I think it's still up for a little bit. But so one of the big unlocks that I didn't realize was there until I was doing it was you get a staff and it replaces your multi-tool. So like you just have this staff that shoots a laser beam out of it, and it is super fucking cool, man. So I'm running around now with a cape and a staff and shit. Like I feel like a badass. That game is awesome, and I'm so ready for Light No Fire.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun as fuck.
Yeah, and they just keep putting more and more content with this stupid game. Like, they don't even have to do Light No Fire at this point because, like, I swear every time I don't know what Sean Murray's doing. Like, this game, he can't be making any more money off of it, right? But it keeps getting better and better.
And I love that they figure out something cool and add it into Light No Fire, and then they backport it into No Man's Sky. Like, so now, in No Man's Sky, they added the wave physics and all that. Now water has accurate reflection, so you can see planets and shit just reflecting in the water.
Crazy.
And it's so cool, man. And the new update that they did added. So there's a new. When you would go in your star map and you had to get the certain drive to go to the certain star areas, like by color, like it was green. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's a purple one now, and those. You can find gas giants, which are epic, which are absolutely epic inside. They are massive. And then you go down and you land on them. You might get caught in a fucking tornado and thrown across the land. And it's super cool. But they also added water planets that are completely water. And one of the expedition missions was for me to go down 1,500 BTUs or 1,300 BTUs deep. Dude, when I tell you that I started getting like creepy thalassophobic Subnautica vibes when I started getting down, because it is pitch black. All you can see is what your lights are putting off. Then I got down to the very bottom and there was like some bioluminescent coral and shit, but you still couldn't see very far. But you would see these big moving shadows, and then they would come by close enough so you could see. So I saw like a big fucking giant ass squid looking thing come by. There were some manta ray that were probably the size of whales.
Nice.
That were just swimming.
The country or the animal?
The animal's about the size of the country, so I mean,
yeah. That's fair. Wales is not a very big country. What?
It's about the size of New Jersey, I think.
There was so much cool shit down there, like a giant is it cephalopod, like like snails, and like what's that fucking like kabuto looking things, you know what I mean, like
a nautilus?
Yeah, like those types of animals, like the shelled creatures that linger down below. But very very cool shit, man. The new update is super worth checking out.
Hell yeah.
The expedition apparently is running until like the 26th, so there's plenty of time. Nate, you should definitely join the expedition at some point. I'd help you if you end up in the same planet system I am. I think it looks like a lot of people go to the same system.
Okay, yeah, I haven't done anything in No Man's Sky since November, so like it would be a lot of work for me to get to.
No. Expedition's it's a blank file. You start over.
The expedition is like its own solid thing. Like they start you off on a planet, and you have specific tasks to do through the phases, which you can do in any order, by the way.
Okay.
And once you finish, that game gets converted into a normal save. But you also, all of that stuff is then unlocked at a vendor in the space anomaly that you can go get on your other characters.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's kind of what I was planning to do, is use the Titan expedition to get refamiliarize myself with the game, because I forgot all the controls and shit. But the cool thing is, at least the expedition starts you with shit. Like you start off with like a portable constructor module and shit like that, so you don't even have to build a constructor.
Oh, refiner.
Like you can do all your craft. Yeah, refiner. That's what I meant. Yeah, you can do all the like crafting and refining in your own body.
Yeah, that is a huge thing when they added personal refiners. You can just set it up in your backpack, and it's just an inventory slot, and you can just drop shit in there, and it'll refine as you're running around doing things. Oh, fantastic!
That sounds awesome. Okay.
Yeah, it's a way. I was intimidated to do it, honestly, and when I jumped in, I'm like, oh, I get it. I got like most of the way through phase 1 already. Like, I think the last thing I need to do is find a specific mineral so I can jump out of the starting system.
I might try starting on this soon, but I have like so many other games I need to be playing. Like, I got to finish Yakuza 5, which I'm about halfway through Yakuza 5. But I'm home alone all weekend, so there's going to be a lot of hours sunk into Yakuza 5 this weekend. I want to get back into Persona 5 really soon, so like I got to make time for that. And then there's 2 games I still want to beat before too long, which I still want to beat: Doom Eternal and The Unfinished Swan before too long.
Highly recommend both. How far were you in?
I haven't started it on Unfinished Swan. I'm like an hour into Doom Eternal, so
yeah, Unfinished Swan's like what, 3 hours all the way through. Yeah. I thought it was going to be longer than it is. Once you get through the first chapter, it's a lot easier to navigate. And Doom Eternal, just don't worry about how long it is.
Finding the time between all these video games, like I'd be so low.
Are you playing on HMP or the lowest level?
Yeah.
It's really not bad on Hurt Me Plenty at all. Like, for all the people talking about how you have to manage all the cooldowns and shit, as long as you remember which button gives you armor, which button gives you ammo, and which button gives you health, you're good.
That's hard, though. Like, with keyboard, like
there's a lot. I'm not saying there's not a lot. I'm just saying, there's more juggling than there was in 2016, but, like, it isn't as overwhelming as people made me believe it would be.
There's one other thing I wanted to bring up, and then we can move on to the game. And that is just a fuck up that I did earlier, and I just want to make this public because I did it to myself. So last night, I decided I was going to start updating my games with times list. Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's at about 1923 or so. And I was like, I'll start adding them because the games, I've gotten a lot of free games, a lot of shit since I last updated that list. It's been a long time. So I'm up to about 3,000. So I got to like over 2,300, like in the 2,300s, and was like, all right, I'll finish doing this another time. And I didn't save it.
No.
So today I'm fucking around. I opened up something and it was being weird. So I went to go Alt-Control-Delete. Went to go click Task Manager, and right above that is the log out button, or the sign out button. So I clicked that, and suddenly it brought me to like my computer was going to restart, and it just started shutting all of my programs. And I went, oh God, and I clicked cancel, and I went about my day, and like nothing was wrong. Then a little bit later, I realized that was no longer open. It's like, oh no, and I clicked it, and I scrolled up, and I got the 2,300s and didn't see any numbers, and just kept scrolling till I got to where I started last night. It was all gone. All gone.
That's so brutal, man.
Like 4 hours.
That's rough.
No, gone. So luckily I do that just to kind of zen while I'm watching something on YouTube or watching an anime or something. I'll just like sit there and just type out the numbers, because I can put how long to beat on this half of my screen and the thing on this half of the screen, and then I can just have YouTube going on this one over here. So it is what it is. But I just wanted to put that out in the ether. Your boy is dumb, and I just figured if you guys have ever had that thought, there's some proof for you. We played a game, gentlemen, and in order to talk about this game, it means that we have to talk about, of course, the obligatory Wikipedia bullshit. So, gentlemen, buckle up. This one's kind of long. Toybox Turbos is a racing video game developed and published by Codemasters, and it was released in November of 2014. That's what it says. That's it. And then underneath that it says gameplay. Toybox Turbos is a racing video game with gameplay similar to Micro Machines. The game features 18 circuits and 35 vehicles and supports local and online multiplayer. PlayStation 3 version, generally well received. PC version, not so much. And that's about all this Wikipedia has.
Okay.
So, Toybox Turbos, it won our short game poll. First thoughts. I know you guys had more experience with what it was based on. So, Willie, I like your yellow shirt. What were your first thoughts on Toybox Turbos here?
So, I think the first time I was introduced to Toybox Turbos was when one of you guys was streaming a mystery key pool. And that was one of the games you got, and you looked at it, and I'm like, oh my god, this is Micro Machines! And then I saw it was actually by Codemasters, and I was really excited. So, my very first experience with it was like, oh hey, they're still making Micro Machines type games. That's nice. What a throwback. Because I really enjoyed Micro Machines for the NES. It was a really fun game. It was not licensed by Nintendo, but it was licensed by Micro Machines. So, it wasn't in a lot of stores, but it was at the, we had a Roadrunner video, it was Roadrunner video that we went to as kids that had a lot of unlicensed games. It had that, it had like, actually a lot of the Camerica releases. It had like the Quattros for, they had the Tengen and Camerica stuff. So they had like the Tengen Pac-Man, they had the Camerica Quattro Adventures and Dizzy and stuff like that. And then they had this. And so, you know, I think they also had a couple of the weird Bible games. But I don't think we rented them too much because, you know, didn't sound all that fun. But so I remember running this a lot and finding it really fun and rediscovering it on emulator and having fun with that. And so we were just like, hey, Micro Machines, this is going to be cool. And so I was really excited to play this game for the show. That's my first impressions. My first impressions are, I saw it, I thought it was Micro Machines. It pretty much is Micro Machines. But we'll get into more stuff about it later.
All right. And the man in the purple shirt, Nate, what about you?
Yeah, so I played this game actually in 2022 of my own volition and beat the game back in 2022 just because I think that was around the time when we pulled the mystery key and I got it and I was like, yeah, this seems like fun. I do want to play through it. And so I did, and I thought it would be a really easy 100%, which we'll get into a little bit later. But the first thing that jumped out to me when I went to play this game is it did not work. Okay, at all. So, I had to do some research and find out how to make it actually work in the year of our Lord 2022. And in order to do that, I had to change my monitor's resolution, which is normally 1920 by 1080, you know, pretty standard resolution for this year, back to a resolution of, hold on, let me remember the exact resolution, of 1280 by 720. And if you jump your monitor, go do that for yourself right now, if listeners at home, and see what that monitor's resolution looks like now. It is insane that was a good resolution back then.
Yeah, that was what PS3 was running. Native was 720p, if I remember right.
The first high definition television I ever got was a 720p that I got because I couldn't read the text in Dead Rising without it.
And it's
in fact, that is the TV that I'm looking at you on right now.
What cracks me up,
the other one is 1080, is
when you open a game that opens up in a weird old resolution and you have multiple monitors, and it's like your monitors don't know what the fuck to do. So all of a sudden, like, your windows are just jumping to different screens in weird positions because they're just like, we don't know how to handle this.
Yeah. And it was like Yakuza 5 opened at a weird resolution for me too, but it didn't like completely crash. I was able to navigate to correct the resolution in game. This game, no. I had to change the actual monitor resolution in order to be able to play it. It's like, and you guys know how I feel about having to basically do anything to mod something to make it work in the year of the game I'm playing the game. Like, I still don't forgive Fallout 3 at all.
That's exactly what I thought it was, Fallout 3.
Even then, when we first started playing games, we didn't really know how to remap like Steam controls too, so we bitched about a few games like Dragon and Aladdin requiring you to use the thumbstick instead of the D-pad.
No, the Dragon was a bad game anyway, but...
Yeah, but I mean, that part didn't
At least
help.
It was cute.
Yeah.
It was cute. I like the art style still.
And so when I finally did get in the game, I did enjoy playing it. Like, even immediately thought it was super easy, but I did enjoy my first few races in this game for sure.
All right. So, I remembered pulling this at some point, probably in one of those bundles that you spoke of, and I loaded it up, and it crashed. And I was like, all right. So I loaded it up again, and it crashed. So I said, all right, third time's a charm. But I loaded it up a third time, and it crashed. So I Googled Toybox Turbos crashing, and I found a Steam community thing that was talking about, hey, you have to change your computer's resolution. And I mean, no shade towards Nate, but I went, well, that's fucking dumb. I don't want to do that. Let me find a fucking better way to do it than that. So I searched a little deeper, and they were like, oh yeah, so you need to go to your documents folder and go into Toybox Turbos folder and create a new thing. And it was like some sort of file extension that I had to name it after it was done. But I just basically had to go in there, and the guy's like, just copy and paste this in there. And it was a thing for resolution. And he said, just put in whatever your resolution is. So I put in my monitor.
So like a settings.ini file, basically?
Basically, but it wasn't in any file. It was like some other type of file.
It was an Audi file.
It was basically that. Yeah, there you go. It was an Audi file. It was a German file. It was Audi. So I did that. I set my resolution, which is 4K. So I put that in, and I started up the game, fired right the fuck up. I'm like, why? Why is it something that little just makes something work? Like, I don't understand it. Like, coding is so baffling to me, and files and all of these things it's just hilarious to me that sometimes that's shit like that. Or like Nate, the game wouldn't load, but if he changed the resolution, suddenly the game fucking worked. Like, what? What kind of coding is that, Codemasters? I think your name's a bit shit. It's like,
and I give it a little bit of grace. It did come out in 2014 or whatever, but there's some things I will say about this game when we get into the actual talking about it that I do think is a little unforgivable in 2024, but...
Well, okay. So, I loaded in and I played it. And I said this to you guys too. I said, I know this is absolutely laughable. This is lulz coming from me. I played this game for like half an hour. I never once, not one time, felt challenged in the slightest.
The game feels like it is designed for the first impression. You play it for 15 minutes, it's hella easy, and you feel good about yourself. And I honestly don't think they expected people to play the whole game.
I realized something about myself, and it's like, I like power fantasies and stuff in RPGs, but like when it comes to racing games, I want a fucking challenge. I want you to...
Yeah, I felt like everyone was stuck in second gear throughout the whole first cup.
Bro, okay, let's just start just talking about shit. Fuck it. So that first little, I'll call it a boss fight, where you unlocked the little hovercraft thing. Yeah. What the fuck was that? It was like I drove faster than him for 10 seconds and I won a point. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And I did that like 6 times and won. I'm like, what was that? What is this? Do either of you have an answer? It's not rhetorical. It's like...
No. The opening of the game is pointlessly easy to a hilarious degree.
Yeah, absolutely. And I 1000% agree with that. The thing I did to keep the game entertaining to me was I had one other friend on my friends list who had played this game before me and had times on every race. And so I was like, you know what? In order for this game to be any kind of fun for me, I'm going to have to beat their time on every single race. Because like I played this back before either of you ever had, so you guys didn't have time, so I wasn't competing against you guys. I was competing against Sandwich Pope Phil from the Tadpog group, who probably has no idea Dev was competing with them the entire time, because I'm sure they played the game like several years before me.
And it was either Phil or his kid, one of the two. And I was also competing with Phil's times, but I also had your times to compete against. And you, sir, some of those I'm very impressed, because I tried my damnedest and I beat Phil, but I could not beat Nate.
It was funny because Willie finished the game today too, and he said he could see the point where it stopped becoming see how good I can do to just barely beating Phil's times.
There was literally one where it was like Phil went 7,642 centimeters, and they went 7,648 centimeters, and immediately let the wave take him because he's like, I'm fucking done. I did it. I'm number one. So there's different kinds of races. That is kind of interesting.
White,
we should
black,
get around to that eventually.
So I want to go ahead and I just want to say it right off the bat. I said fuck this game after the first section. I unlocked that hovercraft and I considered that the final boss. Like, I was like, I am not enjoying this, and I went and played a visual novel. So I can talk about that first little area. And again, like I said, it was easy as
you don't have to,
it was easy as
you played enough to talk about this game. Absolutely. Like, and I played this game back in 2022. I played a few races to remember what the game was like. Played a few games online with Willie, which we'll talk about in a little bit, just to make sure I remember the game. And I played it for all of 30 minutes this time to be prepared for this episode. And one of those was just to unlock that final achievement that I was unable to unlock because it requires an online achievement, and nobody plays this game online anymore. So I had to hook up with Willie to be able to play a game online just to unlock the achievement.
It wouldn't surprise me.
That's also
if we went back in our DMs to 2022 and at some point you mentioned me and you doing a game to get that achievement. And I was like, yeah, we'll do it. And then just here we are, 2025.
Probably.
And it didn't fucking happen. You know what I mean? It's like,
I searched our G-chat messages back at the time, and like Nate immediately starts on the game. He's like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can 100% this game in 1 more hour," because like the first 2 cups are insanely easy. There's 7 circuits in total, or cups if you're like a Mario Kart guy, although they're individual races. And yeah, the game starts off insanely easy, and by the time it gets not easy, it doesn't become challenging. It just becomes annoying.
Yeah, and it's not hard either. It's like you just have to hit like the shortcut that you just saw the computer use the one time that you weren't aware of until you saw the computer use it. Then the next time you play it, you use that shortcut and you manage to win. It just... The problem with this game was it just wasn't very creative somehow. It's like they took the ideas they had back in the early 90s for the what is the game? Micro Machines game.
Micro Machines.
And instead of building on it, they just kind of made it easier, made everything feel less unique, because like in the Micro Machine games there was like helicopter stages, there were all these kind of things, but this game just had like cars. Sometimes you got like the kind of the trucky ones, but like nothing felt as unique. Cause like you go back and play that NES game, every type of vehicle felt very different. In this game, the only thing that really felt different was like you could feel like if you were in like a work truck, it felt a little bit heavier and slower, but other than that, like, everything just kind of felt very, very samey the entire time.
I highly agree with that. I feel like when we were playing Micro Machines, because me and Nate did play some online, and I played some myself too, just to refamiliarize myself with it. I felt like you said, every different car felt different, and each type of car also had its own different kind of track. Like, if you were playing in the sports cars, you were on this, like, beach sandbox type level. If you're playing in the Jeeps, you had the breakfast table. If you're playing as the Formula 1 cars, you were doing the pool table. And every setup felt like different and unique. This game even reuses tracks. Like, I meant to send a message to Nate because I was annoyed by something where there's a level called Ticket to Ride earlier on that's a time trial on a pool table, or not a pool table, on like board game area. And then later on, there was a race that was exactly the same race, except instead of a time trial, it was a knockout level. And instead of whatever car you used the first time, it was with emergency vehicles. And that's it. Those were the only changes.
The knockout levels, sorry to butt in, but the one that I played was, what the fuck was the point? There was just so I had unlocked the London bus, the double-decker. So I'm playing as that. So there's just like a steady traffic line of them. And I'm just driving by them, and as I drive by, their wheels fall off, and it says 1, and another one falls up, 2. I'm like, so I'm not even racing, I'm just driving leisurely around the track, just having these cars blow up, getting this arbitrary number to go up, and then at the end, it's like, congratulations, you destroyed like 26 of them.
Yep.
Why?
Sadly, that might have been the most interesting of the game modes. No, the most interesting was boss fights, but, so here's the different races. There's the normal race, which is the same as in Micro Machines. You're racing against a total of 4 cars, and whoever comes in first wins after 3 laps around. Tiny, like, they're all on these miniature levels. They're cute levels. They're like you're on a pool table or a breakfast table or school desks or something like that. But like that was like normal, that the main race. And the first cup was like mostly those, and it's just like the other cars didn't seem like they knew how to use their whole gas pedal.
You were racing against old men on the way to a diner at 3 o'clock for early bird dinner is what you were doing.
Yeah, they're on their way to Denny's while you're over there street racing. And then like there's the escape level, which I actually thought was the most interesting one, where you're kind of trying to outpace a like wave of destruction, like, you know, the wall closing in on you in PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds or something like that. And if the wave catches you, you die, so you have to just keep on running. Like, it's kind of like Dino Run, if you remember that old Flash game. I thought that one was kind of neat, but again, it's basically just a different way to do a time trial, except it punishes you, because if you fall behind at all, you can't catch back up. And then there's Time Trial, which is just drive on this track and get there on time. And then there was Elimination, which we mentioned. You had to pass a certain number of cars. They're all just going super slow. I want to say it was one other mode, and I've already forgot what it was. I'm not counting the boss fights.
Anyone? I zoned out while you were talking there for a little bit. The only mode that I can think. Sorry, because this game's kind of easy to zone out when we talk about it. But
didn't take it personally.
But we're talking about did you mention the one where you get hit by the wave?
Yeah, the destruction.
Yes,
okay, that's the only thing I could think of. Sorry.
I think the only other one was the boss fights, which again was the one that I was like, at least the boss fight that I played, I was like, what the fuck was the point of that?
The boss fight's based on the 2-player mode of the original game, which was interesting. In the original game, the original Micro Machines game, you have like basically, if you completely get off screen from your opponent, you win that round, and there's like a little 8-dot power bar, and it shifts over 1, so it's like you're up 3 to 5, and then if you get it again, you're up 2 to 6, and eventually, if you get the other guy's meter completely to 0, you win. So that's the idea. Except also in the original Micro Machines, there was a 3-lap limit, so whoever was ahead after 3 laps would win. Whereas in this one, if you went long enough, the game would just arbitrarily call it playoff mode, and then you would just win X rounds from that point.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of not interesting. Like, it just seemed like whoever was ahead now just has a huge advantage, because you basically just have to win twice as...
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so when you talk about that, it's all kind of boring. The only other thing that I really kind of wanted to mention was, like, me and you tried the online multiplayer for mode on this game.
I actually do have...
Yeah.
I do have one more thing. What made this game significantly worse than Micro Machines for 4-player racing and also boss racing was that they added Mario Kart-style weapon boxes with random drops.
Yeah.
Which was completely unnecessary. Me and Nate played some of the original Micro Machines game. It's a frenetic party game that's a ton of fun to play and does not need to add that extra random element.
Yeah.
No, I think that...
all it did was...
them trying to be like Mario
make
Kart.
Shit arbitrary.
I think that's what it was they were like, oh, the kids like Mario Kart and they like power-ups, so you should put power-ups in this game.
But the thing is, this game was so slow-paced without it. Like, it needed something to make it have that frenetic feel, like we talked about with Micro Machines, but, like, it just wasn't it. Yeah.
That decision was incorrect. They did the wrong thing there. And I think they should have played it and realized, okay, this just means, like, if you're playing 1-player mode against 4 other, the 4 car races, and you get hit with a machine gun and get exploded at the beginning of the first lap, now the player just feels like they just got targeted for no reason and they don't have any fun for the rest of the race. And it's like, that's just not good.
Again, I didn't play a lot of it, but I never once got hit with a power-up. I did hit one motherfucker with a power-up, but I was in the midst of lapping him and just came up behind him and donked him. Just dipping the nuts on the forehead after just like deal with that motherfucker. But like, I think I got like a nitrous one that I used. I used it one time. You sent me the ROM of Micro Machines and was like, if you've never played this, play this and see why me and Nate were excited to play this game. And I did play. I played a few races on Micro Machines, and that game is far more fun.
Yeah.
And I'm still not a huge fan of the camera angle, which I haven't talked about. I might as well talk about that now before we move on to the online stuff, because I can't speak on that. But this game is a fixed isometric style camera. And you can also switch it to a top-down camera and then an NES style camera, which I don't get because top-down and NES are basically the same fucking thing.
Top-down, without it being NES, is rotating with the player character. If you go to NES mode, it always has north equals north.
Yeah, they were all ugly. Like, I can only play it on the default camera. The other two ones were ass.
Same.
Complete ass.
Yeah, and that's not to say that the default camera was good by any stretch of the imagination, but I the camera, the again, I know it's lulls from me, but the fact that this game was so goddamn easy to start off, I just bounced off it real quick. But so let me hear about this online play, because I know you guys ended up parsecing Micro Machines, so it's like I'm curious how it went.
Yeah, I think Willie does the better job of explaining how the online part works, but needless to say, it was not very well programmed, and I wonder if when this game was new, if it had like a more active scene, if it had some kind of dedicated servers that made it better. I doubt it. I don't know, man.
Yeah, so the way the online works is it's peer-to-peer. The game doesn't have any dedicated servers as far as I can tell, and it's host authoritative, meaning, you know, whoever's hosting the game, their system is running the game and the logic, and everyone else just pings the system. So because I had some latency, and I'm talking 50 to 70 milliseconds, not terrible, but, you know, reasonable online Wi-Fi latency. It basically meant my car would start and stop at random, more or less, because Nathan's computer didn't get my signal on time for that frame to go, oh, he's speeding up. So, like, at the start of every race, my car would immediately fall behind all the rest. The weirdest part, though, like, there's no robot code either. Like, there's no way for the game to compensate for there to be any lag, as far as I could tell. Although maybe 70 milliseconds or 8 frames was too much lag for the rollback to handle, which seems a little silly to me because we've played games with like 12 frames of rollback before. That being said, like, I thought it was interesting too is when Nate died on a race, it would then transfer control to a living player. So like all of a sudden I was authoritative and I could actually drive my car in a way that made sense. I don't know. It seemed like they made some really strange decisions for how net play should be done.
To answer you as to whether this had a dedicated server or not, this game did not get a physical release. This was a PS3 store, Xbox 360 marketplace, and PC only, which leads me to believe that this was probably a little budget indie title. So if they had a dedicated server, there might have been one.
Oh, do not say indie title, because I think you need to look up Codemasters real quick.
Okay, well then they put out a little budget indie level title.
I'm not saying look up Codemasters because you need to know who Codemasters is. I'm saying look up Codemasters because they are not owned by Codemasters anymore.
Let me guess, it's owned by like Tencent or something, right?
Not a bad guess.
Oh, fucking EA. Fucking EA.
Yeah. So this is an EA purchase wearing the skin of a company that made great games in England in the 80s and 90s.
Got it.
You know what we need to make hats of? Make awesome games again. Just kidding. Yeah, dude, fucking, that's like that little meme I posted the other day where it's like the fancy dudes doing the shooting in the Olympics, and it's EA and Activision and all them, and then it's just the dude who was out there,
the Turkish dude,
and it said the one guy who made Stardew Valley. It's like, yeah, dude. I mean, it's amazing. So when I'm saying indie, I'm not using that in a derogatory way, but I'm saying that, like, okay, if you would have told me that EA was the one behind putting money into this, I'd have been like, nah, they would have at least put a little more effort into. No, if you would have told me that this was a fucking iPad game, I would have believed you.
So I wanted to get onto shit. I streamed the last stages of this game to Blitzy, our friend and patron, at least previous patron. I know he paid us to play Outer Wilds, so shout out to that. I talked to him and showed him some of the game, and he immediately said that the shit looks like it was made for mobile. And I'm like, well, hey, you get 3 stars when you beat a level. This is some Angry Birds shit.
Yeah.
So his theory was that this game was originally started off as an iPad game, and maybe it didn't quite work on iPad, and they pivoted to putting it on HD
I would have been
consoles.
more forgiving of the gameplay of this if it was an iPad game, because then it wouldn't feel so bad. It would feel like a pretty decent iPad game versus a computer
Yeah, if
game.
this would have been a mobile port, yeah, absolutely. If this had been a mobile port, I'd have been like, for a mobile port, this isn't terrible.
Yeah.
So here's an approach I've never had a game on this show. A lot of times we've had either this game is swinging for the fences and we judge it on that merit or not. And sometimes we have games like, I don't know, Sonic Generations, for instance, where like this game is swinging for an 8 and it does it so well, I almost want to give it more than an 8. I think this is the first time we've had a game try to be a 6 and not stack up. This game is aiming to be Wii shovelware and it isn't quite good enough.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, there's so many weird random sins in this game that we haven't even gotten to the nitpicking of, but I'll give one. There's a stage, Ticket to Ride, in which there's... okay, this is a problem no game designer, and when I say game designer, I mean anyone who's played Mario Maker would never do this. Where there's a line of coins going through an S-curve through the middle of it. And in the middle of the lines of coin, there's a mine. So if you go follow the coins, you get killed. That's a betrayal of trust. That's like putting a down arrow sign next to a pit. That's just something that you don't do if you're trying to make a game for people's enjoyment. That's something you do if you think you're being clever and you aren't very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do not disagree. That's stupid. I mean, I have played games that are more like, I guess this is kind of different. It's almost like when you come upon a chest and that chest ends up being a mimic. But it's like once you see that, you know not to do that anymore, yada, yada, yada. There might be a racing game where you take a line and it ends up in a dead end. I don't know why they would do that. That's a terrible decision for a racing game, but you know what I mean. Like, I feel like there's a difference in those things, whereas like with the mimic, there's a chance that it won't be. Whereas that, like, If you follow those coins, that mine's going to be there every time. So why the fuck are those coins there?
That's like if you made a Sonic the Hedgehog level that had a big line of rings, and it just went in a big old arch, and at the end was a hole, and you died.
Or spikes. Yeah. It's like you got all those coins, and you just hit spikes and lose them all. It's like, why?
Yeah, it's not game design, it's just being an asshole. A game is a conversation between the player and the developer. You are playing with your players. You aren't playing against them.
And it's amazing when we play like an RPG, you know, we have our questions of like, why did they make that decision and stuff? But the fact that we're playing a dinky little racing game and all three of us have said why and what is the point multiple times for a game that took, 3 hours to beat? Mm-hmm. And I couldn't even be fucking bothered to beat. Like, I don't know, man. So
the only times this game isn't easy is when it's being irritating on purpose.
Yeah.
There's no challenge. It's either assholery or trivial bullshit. It's trivial. That's the whole thing. This game is fucking trivial. If this was a $2 iPhone game, I would still be like, I'm not sure I would recommend it to my friends. If you wanted to make a AA indie, you know, not indie, but AA budget game, and you still didn't pull that off, just, I don't know, it goes through the motions, and it's painful to me. Because there's a few times there's fun and joy to it. Occasionally it's alright, but it's badly overshadowed by all the shit that just doesn't work and all the times it looked like nobody gave a fuck.
You want to know how this game could have impressed me? If I had logged into like Newgrounds and this was a game playable in browser, then I would have been impressed that they got a game like this to work just in browser.
Yeah.
But no, dude. So let's do ratings because let's just get to them because
I'm with you exactly. If this was a Flash game, I would have been like, holy shit. If this was like a mobile game, I would have been like, all right, I guess. If this was a random fucking Commodore 64 game or something, I'd be like, man, they really got this shit to do some impressive shit. But it's not. It tried to do so little and it didn't do it.
And the fact that this was on just PSN, the Xbox Marketplace, and on PC, boys, I hate to say it because it was Codemasters that did it, but I do believe that this game is what you consider to be shovelware.
It's not just that it's shovelware, it's subpar for shovelware. I would rather be playing some random horse girl game.
Well, leave your kinks at home, Willie.
Well, so Nate, what would you rate Toybox Turbos?
It's bad. Like I think we can all kind of agree to that. Like, even though I was gonna it's not that bad, Dalton, when you were like complaining about it earlier. It's bad. Like, this game is subpar in every way. Like, there's no reason to play this game when a game that came out 2 decades before it is way better than it. Like, this game was 3 sports cars out of 10 fire trucks.
All right, Willie, what about you, bud?
I can't believe they sell this game for
that. I meant to bring that up. I cannot believe
it.
That was the biggest sin of this game. Was this game in the year 2025 costs $15? This game is worth. There's way better games on Steam for $1.99.
Yeah,
go buy Gato Roboto and don't play this.
Like, the only way that I would say that this game is worth it is I would say to be like 90% off. And even then,
I got it for like $3 on G2A, and I still feel like it wasn't a good deal.
Yeah, that's...
So, I mean, look, like I said, this game's fighting for a 6, and it doesn't do enough to justify that. And not only that, but like, it's pointless. There's no reason for it. You could be playing this NES game or the Game Boy or Sega Genesis or any other version of it that is simply a better game. I feel like they cashed in on my nostalgia for a game I liked renting as a kid, and even then, that game was a rental, not a purchase. This is... I originally was going to give it 4.5, and the more I talk about it, the more mad I get at it. And yeah, it has its moments. There's cute things in it. You know what I like? I like the fact that every car, like, if a car has a gimmick, like the milk truck, if you press the horn button on the milk truck, it moves instead of, honking a horn. And all the ambulances and fire trucks and shit have different sirens. It's cute. Someone cared, but not the people that wanted to make the game part of the game. And that's unfortunately what I'm here to judge. And I've got to say... I think I paid $2.84 for this game. So I'm going to give it a 2.84 out of 10.
So I was going to start off giving it a 2. And then I was like, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. The boys seem to enjoy it. I'll give it a 3.
I know, we weren't playing it because we were enjoying it. We were playing it to make sure we were thorough and that we weren't missing anything.
Well, then I was sitting here and we're talking about it and stuff. And it's like you guys said, like the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, man, this game fucking sucked. So I knock it back down to a 2.
Yeah, and I wish, looking back at the way we used to rate games, I would have rated other games lower than this now, because I don't think that this is the worst game we've ever played for the podcast, even though the number rating suggests it, but it's bad.
I'd rather be playing this than
Outlast 2, Blair Witch, Dragon, a game about a dragon. Like, those are 3 that I know for sure I'd rather not be playing.
That could be...
I wouldn't go that far with the Dragon one.
That could be a fun episode to do one day, where we just go back and read through, not the whole thing, obviously, but like Brian's catalog of games and be like, all right, so we all rated this. Do we still agree with that or no?
That would be a fun episode.
I think that would be fun to do.
If for no other reason because I kind of bullied myself into wanting to like Outlast 2, and man, that is in retrospect a game I wish I would have given a sub 5 score to instead of saying it's for someone, just not me.
The thing is, it's us rating it. We don't need to care about somebody else's. We need to rate it for ourselves, which we've grown to realize, but...
So it got knocked. I'll knock it back down to a 2. So then Willie mentions the things that are cute about the game. I liked the design of the little cars and stuff, and all. It's all like, all right, I'll knock it back up to a 3. And then you bring up that it's $14.99, and I'm like, fuck that. That game gets a 2. So it's like Toybox Turbos 2 TTT for me is what I get. So it's getting 2 Hot Wheels out of 10 Micro Machines.
Fair.
I wanted to like you, game. I really did. You just didn't give me anything to like other than nostalgia for a better game.
Yeah. And
even games people have said that about. People said that about Bloodstained, for instance. And even they would probably think that was like a 4.5 out of 10. This is less than that.
So, boys, we have 2 questions this week. The first one comes in from Finney, old Fenris. He says, you meet your 13-year-old self and are allowed 3 words. What are they?
It's kind of a hard one because, like, 3 words without context is a difficult thing to go back and be able to say, like, because the 3 things 3 words are, like, kind of like to be is, like, take more risks, take more chances, things like that. But I'm worried that my dumbass, how old self, 13-year-old self would take 13? That as more, so you do want me to go to that party where they're doing heroin. No, I just want you to smoke pot before you get to college, buddy. That's all I'm saying. But it's really hard to gauge that. I don't want to overstep my advice, but I do think take more chances would be the advice.
Well, you mentioned...
Yeah, I think...
you mentioned college. That's what I would tell myself. I would say stay in college, because I let things going on in my life at the time that were very stressful keep me from going. And because it was like I had a lot going on, so it's like I could go to math class or I could go to my buddy's house and do some pills and get stoned. And I took the opposite route, and and then like with my dad almost dying at one point, like I was spending more time at the hospital and things like that than I was going to school.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that happened that were, I don't want to say out of my control, because I could have absolutely done better, but at the same time it was just I coped with it the wrong way. So if I could tell myself stay in college, maybe that would make it a little easier on these job applications. I don't know where they want the 50 years of experience at 30, but like that's a whole other conversation. So yeah, stay in college, Dalton. That's what I would say. What about you, Willie?
My first thought was something very similar to Nathan's. Like, the very first thing I thought when I looked at this question earlier today is I was trying to figure out a way to condense a line from an Akewood comic into 3 words. Because at one point, there's a comic where Ray Smuckles gets pretty stoned, and he's just sitting there talking to himself about a bunch of shit. And at one point he says, "In the past, I wish I would have tried more things, because now I know that getting in trouble is a fake idea." And so I'd almost like to say trouble is fake, but I don't think that actually carries the entire point. And I don't think that I would have understood what that meant. So instead, what I would tell my younger self is keep releasing games. Keep making games and putting them out so other people can play them. Because instead of being a dabbler today, you would probably be a professional game developer.
That's fair.
Because I was making games for a while, and then for some reason, when I was 13, that's about when I started to learn C, and I stopped releasing shit. I stopped making games for other people to play. I just coded for nothing, and then stopped doing that too. And if I just kept on with the fun I was having making games as a really young kid, and putting those out for other people to play, I probably would still be doing that. And instead now I have to learn everything over again 3 times the age.
Yeah. Thanks for making us be introspective, Dick.
I was going to say, what a question. That was actually 3 really deep answers. Nice. And then the other question that we got comes in from the Dankest, and he will be brought up again here in just a minute.
Hell yeah.
What were your top 3 music artists when you were 16 versus your top 3 now? Parenthesis. I guess this is technically 2 questions, but it's actually more specific how your music taste has changed since you were a kid.
Fair. Yeah.
It's a fine question. No apology needed.
Yeah, we love music. It's all good.
Yeah. So I think 16 is a weird age because I delving into slightly different things. Like I would say probably then my favorite artists were probably Metallica, probably someone like Brad Paisley at the time in country music, and probably... Honestly, it was 2003, so that was like 2 years after 9/11, so it was probably still a lot more country music, so it was probably still...
Where were you when the towers fell?
It probably was something shitty like that. I'm not even going to lie, if I'm being completely honest, but... So let's say Toby Keith in there, too, because that's about as 9/11...
It's probably
that's about
more
as 9/11
likely,
as you can get.
More likely to be Garth Brooks or... It's probably more likely it was Garth Brooks or
that's
Alan
true.
Jackson.
That is true. So something like that. Now I would say my top 3 are Metallica. That some things never change.
Toby Keith and Toby Keith Jr.
No, that dumb bastard's dead now. Sorry. It's probably Metallica, Ghost, and Chapel Roan.
That's a name I've heard. I don't know if I've actually heard her, but I have heard that name, and she's the one that I saw dressed up as JoJo?
Yeah.
Or something?
Yeah, that was supposed to...
She's cool. I don't even know that much about JoJo, but it's an anime reference, and I got it, so hey, she's cool with me.
Yeah.
She's like really drag queen.
Yeah, she's super gay.
Oh,
she's super gay. She's awesome.
Is she the pink ponytail
yes.
girl? I have heard that. Okay, so I have heard one song.
Yeah, like, she's super gay and awesome.
I looked up her Wikipedia page after I saw that JoJo thing, because I was just like looking up, and one of her tags on Wikipedia is AFAB Queens. Which I didn't know that was even a thing you could be.
Word. What about you, Willie?
I'm gonna say my 16-year-old shit's really basic. It was probably Metallica, Megadeth, and
not Radiohead.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't listen to Radiohead for the first time until I was like in my 30s. Like, I was kind of upset because everyone recommended them to me, and I kind of, like, resented everyone being like, "You'll fucking love Radiohead, dude!" Anyway, it turns out I fucking love Radiohead, dude.
And it's funny because the first guy who ever showed it to him just played that, like, the part of the album, and he went, "Hey, that was only halfway," and then he played the rest of it because he didn't want to offend Willie.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No, that was a deep cut Radiohead reference that most of y'all in this group only know because I requested Dalton do a cover of it. It was a good cover. I don't know. Actually, now that you say Radiohead, that might actually be in my top 3 today. I don't really have a top. Like, there's bands I listen to a lot
Computer.
of. It's yeah, I mean, actually, kind of OK Computer did turn out to be kind of one of my comfort albums. Like, it used to be something where I would just sing that whole album to myself if I was completely couldn't do anything else at work. So yeah, I guess Radiohead. Honestly, it's probably still Metallica to some extent. That's such a fallback, makes me happy type band. And
it's hard not to just like it. It's hard not to go back to Metallica. Like, you grew up with it, and you know all like all of Kill 'Em All through Reload by heart. It's hard.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I know all of Load and Reload by heart, because the second half of both those albums just has a lot of dragon long songs that are just kind of blues songs that don't work.
Wait for my daddy, oh.
That's off Garage Inc.
I like Whiskey in the Jar. And yes, that was also off Garage Inc.
Whiskey in the jar, oh.
Jaro. I guess I need to come up with a third artist. I guess I'm still
it's fine.
basic.
Be
man.
basic.
I feel like music is subjective, so I don't think that there is a basic in music unless you're talking like, you listen to like Kids Bop.
Oh, I fucking love Kids Bop, dude. Have you ever heard the cover of All the Small Things by Kids Bop? It's the funniest thing you've ever heard.
There's
like it's like a song that Christian rockers would bully someone for
Did
making.
they censor it? Work stinks. They
don't.
No.
That's not the problem. Trust me. That isn't the problem.
Oh, did they do the music video?
You just had to hear it. You just had to hear it. Trust me. You have to hear it. Niall the Nightmare.
Yeah, I hear he's pretty good.
I think he kind of sucks.
I'm just gonna go with that.
Oh,
I'm gonna go with that though, because I do use that as jogging and exercise music a lot of the time, and it makes me really happy. So yeah,
I will take it, my good sir. Thank you. And speaking of Niall the Nightmare, I do have a new EP up on Spotify. So
that's
go
correct.
Check that out. EP. Mama, EP.
Where's this elevator taking me?
So when I was 16, man, I got to think, because I discovered what started getting me into metal, around 11 to 13. So I was listening to like Korn, Slipknot, Mudvayne, Godsmack, Disturbed, like all of those types of bands. 16 was probably Korn, Slipknot, and that was right around when I started really getting into Type O Negative.
Nice.
So I'm gonna go Korn, Slipknot, and Type O Negative. Even though, like, I feel like Mudvayne and Slipknot are interchangeable. Me now? Oh shit! I gotta give a shout to Mechana. They're fantastic. If you're new around here, Mechana's all their albums tell one long space war story, genocide, all kinds of shit. It's fucking crazy. They're really good. And they're the reason I bought a 9-string guitar. I gotta go Zeromancer. And they are more of like a, the band Orgy, like that style of like poppy but industrial metal. Still, like that's kind of how they sound. But they're from.
Unfortunately, literally the only song I know by them is their cover of Blue Monday.
Oh, dude, I got to send you the only other song I listen to by Orgy. It's called Opticon. It's so
How does it feel?
Yeah, that's to treat me like you do. No, what's funny is you listen to that and it's like you're rocking to the chorus or whatever. Then you go back to the 80s and listen to the original Blue Monday song, and there is no chorus. It's just a dude like, those who came before me live through their vocation. And then where the chorus would be, there's just a little bit of like just the music playing by itself, and then he just goes into the next verse. It's real weird. I totally see why Orgy added a fucking chorus to it.
Dude, not to go off on a weird little tangent here, but
no, by all means.
The one thing I haven't played Ultimate Fishing Simulator in a really long time, but the one thing I miss about that game is that underground 80s radio station on Soma FM.
Dude, because it played so much good stuff that either we hadn't heard in forever or we had never heard, and we're like, what is this? This is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of that cool, like, well, I don't know, Dark Order 244 and New Bouts and Einsteinium or whatever they're called. You probably know the bands I'm actually trying to say.
Yeah, it's like I remember when we're playing and all of a sudden that, tell me, what was it? I think it's called What's on Your Mind? Information Society.
Oh, yeah, Information Society.
So
put a lot
that
of that
came on and I'm like, dude, I remember this band. I was in IHOP and I Shazammed the song playing because I liked it and it was fucking Information Society. So from then on, they got added to my little goth playlist. And then, like, they were playing, like, I think they played Stripped by Depeche Mode, which is, like, one of their album cuts that I fucking love. Like, there was all kinds of good shit on there. Good shout out, dude. Soma FM, the underground 80s station. I think that's just an internet radio station that you can go listen to.
Yeah.
But, like, there was just something
also,
special.
I'm going to give the exact opposite of how you felt about New Order and Orgy, because to me, like, fucking them adding all that angst to it, like, the original song literally sounds like he's asking, how do I feel? It's like ambivalent and confused. The Orgy song is just angsty and pointless, like, how should I feel? And the answer's like, pissed off. You obviously sound pissed off. You've made it lame. Yeah, you sound angry and bitter and resentful. That's how you feel. The original song sounds like, how should I feel?
I think you would enjoy Opticon a lot more. There's a lot less angst than Opticon. But those are the two Orgy songs I listen to. And I think I've heard, like, they have a song called Stitches that I listen to every now and then. But it's, like, not Opticon's my go-to by them.
Your Snitches get that song.
Yeah, a lot of them do. And when there's multiple of the Disney movies, they typically play it. Yeah, bitch. So my third band. So I got Mechana, I got Zeromancer. That's a hard one, dude, because I really love Ghost. I really love Typo Negative. I really love Powerwolf. Like, I already mentioned Typo. They're forever in my heart. They're tattooed on me, literally on my skin. So I'm gonna go Ghost.
Hell yeah.
I think I'm gonna go Ghost. So they win the award for most chosen. But, like, dude, they're just so goddamn good. I need to listen to that new song they released.
For sure, man.
I do dig Papa's new look. He looks pretty cool. I don't know why they do that gimmick, but I like it. Where he just switches up his look every now and then, and it's a quote-unquote new Papa. It's a new person, and it's just a completely different persona. It's tremendous.
I often thought it would be fun to do a band where, like, every single we do a music video, and at the end of the music video, the singer gets killed by someone, and then that person becomes the new singer for, like, the next single.
That would be cool.
But, like, it would be a different actual person in the role, and maybe people would reprise it from time to time. Like, you know, you might come back from the dead and become the new guy or whatever. Your
singer's Doctor Who.
But, like, yeah, exactly.
The singer region, that's kind of cool. That would be interesting. And all of a sudden, David Tennant's the lead singer.
Yo, I've heard him do a cover of The Pretenders' 500 Miles, and it was pretty good. So.
Dude, he had that show. I don't know what it was on, but I watched it on YouTube. It was him and another dude, and it was during COVID. And most of it was done through video chats and stuff. No, because he was playing himself.
Oh.
He was David Tennant.
Oh, I'm thinking of something else.
And the other guy was like another like actor and comedian. You may have seen the clip where they compare paintings. And he's like, yeah, I painted this morning. And then the other guy's like, oh, well, I did this, and pulls out this beautiful painting. And David Tennant goes, you painted that this morning? Fuck off. No, you didn't. Fuck you. You did not paint that this morning. It's this really funny clip.
It kills me to hear David Tennant's original accent, because I'm so used to the English accent he does in Doctor Who.
Scottish.
That when he actually uses his regular Scottish accent, I'm like, what the hell happened?
Oh, fuck off, mate. He's fucking. It was just super funny, that whole interaction. If I remember later, I'll send it to you, because it's a funny clip. But
yeah, thank you.
But yeah, so Ghost, Zeromancer, Mechana. Even though my Spotify would probably tell you otherwise, but like, fuck it, that's what I'm going to go with tonight.
Well, if you saw how weird my Apple Music Rewind was at the end of last year, man.
I feel like if I looked at Spotify, my favorite artist would probably be Synthwave Playlist. So
if you go by my if you go by my Apple Music, my favorite artist last year was Taylor Swift. So.
I mean, you did
didn't. Taylor did. I didn't.
We all just figured it was a love story.
Though.
Just say yes.
I'm not doing Taylor Swift references. Fuck you guys.
Yeah. And then when you guys are done done boning, if you got a little cum on you, just shake it off.
Jesus Christ.
On that note, so I don't want to keep him in suspense for too long. So I said that the Dankest would be mentioned again. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up. He recently paid our patron tier of $20, and that gets you, the choice of choosing a game, like Blitzy did with Outer Wilds. And he gave us a selection of games to choose from. And I'm kind of surprised that we ended up on the one that we did, but I'm not against it in the slightest because it's a game that I've wanted to play.
Same.
So after Yakuza 5, which will be the next episode, there will probably be another short game or two because, this one's a lengthy boy, but I'm ready for it. We're going to be playing Octopath Traveler 2. I've played a good bit, of the first Octopath Traveler on Switch. And I've heard that 2 improved on it in like every way, and it was already a pretty damn good game. So I'm very excited about that after we're done whipping some asses Kiryu. But here's the thing. I meant to mention this earlier and forgot. Here's the beautiful. Sometimes there's been a lot of shit going on in my life, a lot of shit, bad shit. There's always, as Dane called it, a silver lining in the bomb. I've already beat Yakuza 5. I basically have the next 2 weeks off. Tomorrow, after recording this, is the first day of early access that I got for pre-ordering WWE 2K25.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I have the next 2 weeks to be an absolute wrestling nerd. So prepare for some screenshots and things of that nature in the Discord because your boy's going to be all over that game like some white on rice. So I am super looking forward to that. But our next episode is going to be on Yakuza 5, and I'm looking forward to talking about that game. I have thoughts. I'll leave it at that. So before we get into all the house cleaning mojumbo, Nate, Willie, either of you, is there anything that either of you would like to plug or get out of the way?
Nah, I'll be back in 2 weeks. Cover all if I have anything then.
Fair enough. Willie, you got anything you'd like to plug, my good sir?
Man, if you're feeling bad, get up and do some bodyweight squats or light kettlebell squats or whatever you got with you. Just get your blood moving. It really does do a surprising amount for you.
And if you're having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one.
I will hit you.
You know, there was I don't know if you guys know Krayshawn. Did y'all ever hear that Gucci, Louis, Fendi, Prada? That song. She had another song where she said, I got 99 problems, best believe they all bitches. And that always cracked me the fuck up. She also had a song where the song was called Left Eye, and the chorus was basically, caught my man cheating, I'm rolling through the west side, about to burn his fucking house down like I'm Left Eye, which is something that Left Eye actually did back in the day. Caught her boyfriend cheating and burned his fucking house down. Shout out, rest in peace, Left Eye from TLC.
Left Eye Lopez, baby.
Yeah, she was the shit. And like one of my first ooh, she looks different. I really like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she looked different. But yeah, I don't know what brought yeah, Krayshawn. Yeah, just funny line. They all bitches. But yeah, I agree with the whole doing some squats, doing some lifts, things like that. I got my dumbbells right by the computer. I've been watching a lot of he doesn't need our shout out, but I'm gonna give it to him. Celtic Warrior Workouts, which is Sheamus from WWE, has a YouTube channel that he does workouts with different wrestlers, and he basically goes in and he's like, all right, you tell me what we're doing today. And if I could recommend one to anyone to watch, is the one where he goes in with Lyra Valkyria, because they're just doing some stuff and he is not prepared for it, and he's just like, I don't think I can finish. And she's like, come on now, Sheamus, no lad left behind. Because she's Irish too. She's just so sweet and just doing these workouts, and Sheamus is fucking pouring sweat. Just like, it's a great episode. Also, him and Randy Orton, just because their banter was absolutely hilarious. The whole Randy Orton's a funny motherfucker. Very dry, but just funny. But yeah, so anyway, if you would please go and leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify, it does help out a lot. Give us a 5-star rating and let us know what you think of the show. And you know, if you do leave a 5-star rating and leave a worded review on iTunes, I will read it out on the show. We just haven't gotten one in a while, so give me some more to read. Let me soothe your ears with reading the words that you type that you want me to say. Just don't be that guy. You know what I mean. You want to check?
Don't be Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff sucks. He's also a duck.
Jeff sucks, I know.
Oh, I thought you were going to go, Jeff sucks. Woo!
Jeff Tails, he's a duck.
If you want to join the Discord, which is where all the cool kids are at, and that's where all the cool shit happens, bit.ly/TSMP Discord, all capital letters. That'll get you in there. You can come and join and vote on the polls, which we have had some new polls, so I'm going to run through those very quickly. For the long poll, we've got Valkyria Chronicles, Grimoire, Heralds of the Winged Exemplar, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Planescape Torment Enhanced Edition, or Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. Right now, it is a close race between Valkyria Chronicles and Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, with Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 in the lead. And again, full disclosure, I know at least me and Willie do through our votes on this poll, but in the case of a tie, we do remove our votes. So, just to put that out there, and that goes for basically all of these. So the short game poll is, so the last winner is the poll that just went up, is the Turing test. So we're going to be playing that at some point. So I'm stoked about that. This next poll.
Looking forward to a smart game.
We have Slay the Princess, Pristine Cut, Unguard, Heaven Dust, Pumpkin Jack, and Blood Knights. Overwhelmingly winning right now is Slay the Princess.
That's unsurprising. That is a really interesting title.
It's a fun game.
Oh, bro, when it came up, I was like, fuck yeah. I don't think it's going to beat Slay the Princess, but Pumpkin Jack is a game that I do want to play.
I am excited to play that. When we did the package of highly rated games where I bought a game we played recently, I can't remember which one, I also got Pumpkin Jack.
I've 100% Pumpkin Jack on Steam. So.
Hell yeah. And there is a new retro game poll up, the last winner being Rayman 2, The Great Escape. So that will be coming up after we do Legend of the River King, which will probably be relatively soon. The next poll up for this is Popful Mail for the Sega CD, Good Boy Galaxy for the Game Boy Advance, which we let slide. Spin Dizzy's World.
It's a retro system.
Yeah, that's basically it. It's made for a retro system. I'll let it slide. Spin Dizzy's World for SNES. New Adventure Island for the TurboGrafx 16 and the PC Engine. The Legend of Valkyrie, otherwise known as Valkyrie no Densetsu for the TurboGrafx 16 and PC Engine. And Tex Murphy, Under a Killing Moon for the PC. And I did want to say I have added some new channels. And apparently they seem to be popular with everyone, so I'm very glad. Where I put the polls in their own section. So now we have the long game poll, and then underneath it is what's on the long game poll. And just for an example, I give a description of the games and then the picture of the game, so you know which one is which and stuff. So that is gone over well, so people don't have to go and look up if they don't know what the game is. They're like, whoa. So they're just voting on either A, what sounds cool based on the name, or B, just voting for something that's popular or they know what it is. Now you can actually go and look at these choices and be like, make an informed decision somewhat. So
yeah, and we're still trying to decide kind of whether we want like those channels to be open so people can discuss the polls, or if we just want to leave them for information. So if you guys want to give us feedback, we would appreciate that either way. Because like right now they're definitely just being used kind of like big stickies, which I think is a good idea. But if you think that we need channels to discuss the polls for like campaigning, that might also be useful. Or we could make a new channel for campaigning for a while.
I was going to say, I can totally just add another little in there, and it'll be like long poll discussion, short poll discussion. And then if people want to campaign in there, they can campaign away if they want. And yes, Dane, we're talking to you.
We probably just, if we were going to make a discussion poll at our channel, I think we probably just need one for all of them, because the polls don't get that much.
That's very true. That's very true. It could just be poll discussion at the bottom.
Yeah, got some polls we can discuss.
I'll do that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, buddy. Girth, not length. I want it to be believable. One of the funniest lines I've ever heard in a movie. It's also the same dude who delivered the line that cracks me up, where the two girls, he's like, you guys want to ride with me? They're like, no, it's okay. We're going to ride with him. And they're walking away. And he goes, I have cocaine on me. And they both turn around. One girl's like, shotgun. It's another funny scene. But I don't know his name. He is one of those fat guys who plays character actor best friend in movies, and he's great. And he was in the ping pong movie. He was the main character in the ping pong movie. Balls of Fury. That's what it was called. Balls of Fury.
I have seen that, and I don't remember who the main character was.
That's fair enough. If you want to learn more about Balls of Fury, actually not, but if you want to, check out the show's website, it is bit.ly/the Steam Machine Podcast, capitalized phonetically. You want to check out the Patreon. That's where the good shit's at. That is patreon.com/the Steam Machine Podcast. $1 or more a month gets you the episodes early, and you get the Patreon only banter in the beginning, and you get to support the show. If you donate $10 or more, you get all that plus your name read on each and every episode, like these wonderful people. Breathe in too deep, made me cough. Nate Sir Cogsworth, the 7th of June-iper, Jeff, the original Expendable, Mr. Syllables, old Jeffy Lube, also he's a duck, Ariesoradam, shout out to his podcast, Revival and Extinction, and I think there's something about a Spectre. Team Retrogue, go check him out over there on YouTube, he makes good handheld content. Mr. Puzzles, Dane himself, Chad, the Mad Lad, no goddamn C in his last name, Shaffer, Flyin Brian, Doran Gray, the RPG Wolverine, Logan Joreid, and the Dankest. You guys rock. We appreciate it very much. And speaking of the Dankest, I do want to reiterate again, if you donate $20 or more, you can pick a game and bump it up in the list, and we will get to it sooner than we would if not. I'll put it that way. And if you have the means, you're welcome to join us on the episode, but that is not a requirement. If you just want to hear us talk about something, that's perfectly okay too. But yeah, man.
If you have the means, then you're cool. If you're not cool, you can't.
Yeah, you know, if you're not like, you know, at least.
Are you a cop?
3.
You have to tell us if you're a cop.
If you're not 3 games into the Yakuza series, we can't be friends. So make a love.
Bye, Mikolov, you piece of shit.
Mikolov, you get grandfathered in, but everyone else, because he's seeking redemption. This is a topic for the other episode, but I do want to say the way that he has changed and things have been changing with him in the DMs as he gets further and further into Yakuza 5 has made me giggle.
It's very interesting. His journey has been very interesting.
We'll elaborate on more in 2 weeks.
His walk with Kiryu.
Who wants to walk with Kiryu?
I'm on my walk with Kiryu. Every day I hold him in my heart.
There you go. And
when there was only one set of footprints, that's when Kiryu went off to fucking fight a guy. That's when he was beating the shit out of Mr. Shakedown.
Nate coming to the ring as Judgment Kawase. Got Kiryu as his manager over there looking like Mr. Fuji, but way more cool. Anyway, boys, I think that about does it for this episode. So we'll be back in 2 weeks to talk about some Yakuza 5 Remastered. And then after that, we're on to the big boy, Octopath Traveler 2. Until next episode, everyone, take it easy.